Muscle cars were built to be affordable performance for regular buyers. Cheap V8 power stuffed into a mid-size body, sold to young guys who wanted to go fast without paying sports car money. 60 years later, a handful of those same cars are trading for more than most houses. This is a rundown of 5 of the most valuable muscle cars still commanding 6- and 7-figure prices at auction today, and why each one earned its spot at the top of the market. If there's an undisputed king of muscle car value, it's this one. Plymouth built the Hemi Cuda convertible in genuinely tiny numbers. For the 1971 model year specifically, only a handful of automatic transmission examples are believed to exist at all, which is a large part of why this body style has become the single most sought-after muscle car in the collector world. A snow-white example sold at Mecum's Kissimmee auction in early 2026 for $3.3 million, and it's far from an outlier. A 4-speed Hemi Cuda convertible hit $3.5 million as far back as 2014, and one bid up to $4.8 million at a 2021 Mecum Indianapolis auction, though that particular car didn't ultimately sell. What separates the Hemi Cuda convertible from nearly everything else on this list is the combination of 3 separate factors that rarely lined up together in 1971. The 426 Hemi engine, the drop-top body style, and genuinely minuscule original production. Most muscle cars are valuable for one or two of those reasons. This one has all 3. Ford built the Boss 429 for one specific reason that had nothing to do with street performance. NASCAR required manufacturers to sell a minimum number of a given engine in a road car before that engine could be raced competitively, a rule called homologation. Ford wanted its massive 429 cubic inch semi-Hemi V8 eligible for stock car racing, so it stuffed that engine into the Mustang's engine bay, a job so difficult that Ford had to outsource the front-end modifications to an outside contractor just to make the engine physically fit. Only 859 were built in 1969, and values have climbed steadily and dramatically in recent years. A Barrett-Jackson sale in Columbus, Ohio in 2026 saw an unrestored, low-mileage Boss 429 sell for $950,000, or just over $1.04 million once the buyer's premium was included, making it the first Boss 429 to break the 7-figure mark. Multiple other examples have cleared $600,000 to $660,000 at Mecum auctions in the same year, and clean examples are now genuinely difficult to find anywhere near $300,000, a price point that would have seemed absurd for this car a decade ago. The Superbird exists because Plymouth needed to beat Ford and Dodge's own aerodynamic NASCAR entries, and the result is one of the strangest-looking cars Detroit ever put into production. A nose cone stretching the front end out by nearly 2 feet, and a rear wing mounted high enough on struts that it sits well above the roofline, engineered purely to manage airflow at NASCAR speeds, rather than to look conventionally attractive on a dealer lot. Buyers in 1970 weren't especially enthusiastic about the styling, and Plymouth reportedly struggled to sell through its full production run at the time. That's exactly what makes surviving examples so valuable now. A combination of low original demand and a design so tied to a specific era of NASCAR aerodynamic racing that it can't really be compared to anything else. A Hemi-powered example finished in Tour Red sold for $1.65 million at a Las Vegas Barrett-Jackson auction, with a well-documented case of the exact same car reportedly reselling for under $1 million at a different Barrett-Jackson auction the same year. A reminder that even at this level, muscle car values can swing hard depending on the specific sale and buyers in the room. Chevrolet had an internal rule banning its smaller car lines from being fitted with the biggest available big block engines, which should have kept the Camaro out of true big block muscle car territory entirely. A Pennsylvania dealer named Don Yenko found the loophole. Chevrolet's COPO ordering system, meant for fleet and special order vehicles, could be used to specify a 427 cubic inch, all-aluminum ZL1 engine on a Camaro SS body, completely bypassing the internal ban. Yenko ordered a batch, badged them under his own dealership name, and created one of the most legendary factory loophole cars in American muscle car history. Officially rated at 430 horsepower, most enthusiasts and historians believe the real output was considerably higher, likely 500 horsepower or more, deliberately underrated to keep insurance costs down for buyers. That combination of extreme rarity, a genuinely subversive backstory, and drag strip dominating performance has pushed top examples to roughly $1.8 million at recent auctions, putting a Camaro that started life as a factory order loophole ahead of plenty of cars that were designed from the start to be exclusive. The Challenger's Hemi convertible occupies a similar space to the Cuda's, since Dodge and Plymouth built these cars on the same corporate platform, and both offered the 426 Hemi in drop-top form during a similarly narrow production window. A Hemi RT convertible sold for $1.45 million at Mecum's Kissimmee 2026 auction, part of what collectors have started informally calling the $1 Million Mopar Club, a growing list of Hemi-powered Chrysler products that have each individually cleared seven figures at auction in recent years. What keeps the Challenger convertible just below the Cuda in overall value, despite sharing the same drivetrain, largely comes down to brand mystique and slightly higher original production numbers. The Cuda's reputation as the definitive Hemi muscle car has stuck harder in collector culture, even though the mechanical case for the Challenger is nearly identical. It's a useful reminder that in this market, engineering specs only explain part of the price. The rest comes down to which nameplate collectors have decided to chase hardest. Looking at this list together, one pattern stands out immediately. 4 of the 5 cars here are Chrysler products powered by the 426 Hemi, and that's not a coincidence or a bias in how this list was built. The Hemi engine, combined with genuinely tiny original production numbers on drop-top and homologation special variants, has made Mopar muscle the dominant force at the very top of the collector market, with Ford's Boss 429 standing as pretty much the only non-Hemi car able to compete at the same price level. If you want a full breakdown of exactly what makes a numbers-matching Hemi so valuable, or a look at which modern muscle cars might follow the same path in 20 years, let us know in the comments and subscribe for more deep dives into the cars defining today's classic auction market.